might be the richest person there, too.
I've been around this NFL thing a while, all right?
Yeah,
I've been around it a while. And this time of year, mid-June, you can taste it. You could see it. You could feel it. We have schedules now. We pretty much know who's on which team. And we've known for a month and a half who the draft picks are and potentially what their opportunities might be to start this fall and be significant players in their first year as professionals. And every single story that crops up right now is all of it. The underpinnings of all of it is how does this affect wins and losses when toe meets ball in September? And everything, when there's mandatory mini camps in this day and age where you can't talk to players essentially due to the collective bargaining agreement rules, as soon as confetti drops at the Super Bowl all the way up until the off-season workout program begins in April. You can talk to them, but you can't have them in a playbook. You can't have them in a building, as regular practices and things like that. So when there are actual drills on a field in the spring leading into summer and everybody is mandated to be there for a 2-3 day period of time and somebody doesn't show up, that's news. The question is, what does it mean when toe meets ball next year? Certainly, if it's somebody that's not there due to contractual reasons, that's understandable. CeeDee Lamb wasn't there for Dallas as well. But Jamar Chase did show up today for the Cincinnati Bengals, or he has been there this week. So there's all of that. So when I walked in the building today and heard that for Jets minicamp, their quarterback wasn't there. And it's like, what? Really? Because Aaron Rodgers has been there throughout this entire voluntary offseason. And he wasn't there today.
Did you think they were talking Tyrod at first?
I honestly, I don't know what to make of all this stuff. Because when a quarterback doesn't show at a mandatory minicamp, that means all of the snaps and all of the dress rehearsals that you can have, it's not the same. Or, you're preparing for, as any Jet fan would point out, the inevitable that the quarterback will get hurt anyway. So you might as well get the first team reps with your second string quarterback. It is Tyrod Taylor that you're referring to as a second string quarterback for the Jets. Could you imagine if this was Zach Wilson today? Out there.
God, I
Could
wish
you imagine
that was
the
true.
difference and the intensity of all this? And again, I am having a little bit of fun here because it is bizarre. There's no other way to put it. It's weird. It is bizarre because Aaron Rodgers did not show up. And as you'll hear from Robert Saleh talking about the guys who aren't there, he could have gone full Rich Eisen favorite cliche of substituting the you can control what you can only control what you can control cliche with this time of year. I'm only talking about the guys that are here, everybody, because Hassan Reddick is not there either. The Jets acquired Hassan Reddick, one of the top pass rushers in the league, and he wants a new contract, and the Eagles were kind of like, sure, you go take him because we're not going to get that new contract done here. So now that's your problem. And now he's a no-show. He's been a no-show this whole time. He's a no-show at mandatory minicamp. So when you hear Robert Saleh refer to multiple people who are not there today, inexcused, he's referring to Hassan Reddick as well. This was the head coach of the Jets today. Hit it.
Aaron and I spoke before OTA started. He's been very good in communication. He's been here the entire time. It's inexcused, but he had an event that was very important to him, which he communicated.
Both are inexcused.
Both inexcused. Yes.
So are they getting fined?
They're both subject to the CBA fine schedule.
Okay. So.
Okay.
Very, and you're seeing other reports out of the New York area that the Jets have known for weeks, if not months, that Rodgers would not be here. Which is interesting why you wouldn't say, hey, everybody, by the way, heads up, when I'm not there for the first mandatory minicamp, it's because I got something important going on. Or he just doesn't care to say it, or he doesn't. Listen, after all these years of watching his remarkable Hall of Fame ability and then frequently come up with something in terms of his actions that's difficult to explain. After all this time, I'm out of the guessing game business with Aaron Rodgers. Certainly, when he said this after the end of the playing season, when Zach Wilson had a final season there that was also teetering on the border of weirdness, bizarreness, and awfulness all at the same time. He had this to say, because there was a lot of conjecture about Wilson not wanting him to play at the end of the season last year. And if he didn't, by the way, I didn't have a problem with that. Certainly since I heard he was told he was going to be sent packing, which he eventually was. Why would he want to get hurt playing for a team that basically benched him and he wasn't going to be around there anymore? Rodgers had this to say.
Anything in this building that we're doing individually or collectively that has nothing to do with real winning needs to be assessed. Everything that we do has to have a purpose too. When you step in the building, there's intentionality with everything that you do. And it's not a half the time thing, it's not a sometimes thing, it's not a most of the time thing, it's an every time thing. If you want to be a winning organization, you have to put yourself in position to win championships and be competitive. Everything that you do matters, and the bull that has nothing to do with winning needs to get out of the building.
Because guess what's coming his way is something I'm sure he considers BS, because there will be a lot of conversation from the New York media about this until he shows where is he, why isn't he there, all of that sort of stuff. And I have no idea what the event is that he considers so important to him. And if it is, then it is. He knows what he's going to be creating. He absolutely knows that. He knows that he's going to give reps to Rod Taylor, which may be important anyway, and helpful. But he knows that having his coach go out there and call his absence inexcused is going to create a major to-do in the New York City area. We're leading the show with it right now. But when it all does come down to it, and I have always subscribed to this in my 21 years now with NFL Network, anything that comes up during the playing season, how will this affect wins and losses this fall? Will it at all? Because, again, his head coach could have said this is, he told me weeks ago. We talked before the OTAs, which is, technically weeks ago. But he called it inexcused. Could have been, we knew about it, and just leave it at that. The story is, he had something to do. The Jets call it inexcused, and that is going to be potentially cause for tension between him and the coaching staff at some point. Throw that out there. But I will just subscribe to this. When Aaron Rodgers is suited up for the New York Jets and the ESPN or ABC cameras are zooming in on him as he's getting ready to run out of that tunnel in the Field of Jeans in Northern California for the final game of the first week of the NFL season that begins with Ravens at the Chiefs and then has the first game ever in Brazil between the Packers and the Eagles. And then we have our first full Sunday of NFL action and all of that. We're chewing on all of that. And you're seeing the Browns and the Cowboys play on a late window on Fox. And then you're seeing the Sunday night debut replaying last year's dynamite wildcard game between the Rams and the Lions, and everybody is talking about football being back, and the Jets and the Niners are the last game of week number 1, and Aaron Rodgers is standing in that tunnel. Is any of what's going down today going to matter? My answer to that is no. It will not. But it is stuff that when Aaron Rodgers shows up in New York City, there hasn't been a lot of New York City 24/7, 365, first-time callers, long-time listener moments for him. There is going to be one today. It's the middle of June. It's just weird. It is bizarre. I have no idea why he's not there. I'm not going to go all in and saying he should be there. I have no idea what it is that he's missing. But whatever he's missing, the Jets, who have essentially bent over completely backwards ever since they acquired him, to make sure he's comfortable, he's set, he's got everything around him that he wants, that he is going to win for them. And he knows, he's said it into a microphone, that winning and losing in New York this year, the difference between that means so many other people's jobs. He's completely aware of what he means to the organization, what he means to the wins and losses, and for everybody in that building, affecting lives and everyone else. And he does shoulder that responsibility extremely well, to the point where he was there for every single second of voluntary activities. But for him to not be there today, and for the Jets to say, we are going to take the stance publicly of this is inexcused, essentially to basically say everybody who's there in that building who knows where Rodgers is today, that even for this moment, we are going to say Rodgers is one of 53 or one of 70 or how many guys that are there in that building right now. And how does that sit with Rodgers? And will that just start any fraying of a nerve that might come home to roost week 5, week 10, week 9, week 8, week 12, week 15? That's part of the drama of an NFL season, right? But in terms of Rodgers in pads, getting ready, finally back, his rehab has paid off where he's there, and he's ready to go. And hopefully for him and all Jets fans, play more than 5 snaps. We were having a little bit of fun with this the other day. What we were talking, was this on our pod, or was that here? Our overreaction pod, which came out yesterday. I can't. They all mesh together. All the content we're churning out.
So much
here.
content.
So that we were saying they should just hand it off 6 straight times to make sure that he's okay.
It was on the pod.
Just
on
hand it
Monday.
off. Hand it off.
Maybe even just double it. Go 8 times. But 8 straight handoffs.
Right. And by the way, with a revamped offensive line, pushing around the 49ers in their first possession, if they can do it, not a bad message to send to start a season. All that said,
take it.
Will it matter when Rodgers is stepping on that field with his mates, back again, adrenaline flowing? I say no.
No, of course not. Of course, this has zero bearing on the fall, but there's always something with this guy. Always something. And so I'm curious to find out what it is, what was so important. And it just comes back, it just doesn't pass the smell test. If it's so important and the Jets knew about it months ago, why was it unexcused?
I don't know why Santiago was touched if he was ordered to not be touched. I don't know. I don't know why the Jets decided to mention this as some form of a
and why mention
code
it?
red.
Yeah, exactly. Why bring it up at all?
I don't know. And how does that land with Rodgers wherever he is right now?
Yeah. Why make it a point to say yes, he is subject to the fine?
But that said, when it's time for football on that first Monday night, and if the Jets win and they start doing what they're supposed to be doing, whatever we're talking about to lead the show today, I don't think matters. But it is weird. It's bizarre. I don't know what to make of it. And I'm just not going to, I have no idea what he's considered is so important that he knows is going to bring a lot of this about. Unless he didn't know the Jets were going to say, we're going to call it inexcused. I imagine they just put all their ducks in a row with him to start. But, and it could wind up, but I'll tell you what, people are digging all over the place right now. Where in the world is Aaron Rodgers?
Hey, Ron. Where are you?
That's it. That's the story of the day. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.